views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer for the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to Countyline, the public access television program about news and information in Allen County government. We're standing in the Allen County Public Safety Dispatch Center. Behind this glass wall is the City of Fort Wayne's Dispatch Center. Last year, Allen County government and the City of Fort Wayne began the process of merging these two centers together to act as one. A consolidated communications partnership is what it's called. One of the big moves to get this underway was the hiring of a director. And with us today is the new director of the CCP, Tim Lee, and also joining us is Allen County Sheriff Ken Freeze, who serves on the CCP Operations Board. Tim, first of all, welcome to Fort Wayne and Allen County.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your background. I know you have quite a great deal of experience in communications.
Well, I come from Allen County, Ohio. I've got 15 years as a deputy sheriff in Allen County, Ohio. About 4 years ago, our sheriff seen the need for me to take over a communication center there that at the current time was dispatching 11 agencies. Part of my focus was organization, and the Ohio Marks Project was to consolidate and find a structured environment to operate from. And because of that, upon my departure, we were dispatching for 22 of 28 agencies within the county, and we had an operating policy, a standard operating policy for everybody to operate from.
How did you become interested in the position that opened up here in Allen County?
Well, over the last 4 years, I've learned to have an appreciation of the life and the process of how a dispatch center works, but I've also, my family background is from the firefighting side, and then my side is from the law enforcement side, and I've seen a need as a common goal is to service the citizens of the community, and I seen Fort Wayne was looking for that objective, is for someone to come in and consolidate, but on the main focus is to get first responders to consolidate, come together, and service the community quicker, faster, and more proficiently.
You've been here for several weeks now. What have you done to get yourself acclimated to the setup here?
Well, the first thing is to become proficiently observant of the personnel that I currently have. A lot of it was meeting with the personnel and meeting with the staff, telling them what my objectives were, telling them, absorbing their opinions of how we were going to streamline and make things more proficient, as well as meeting with the chiefs and the advisory committee of the CCP to see what their objectives were.
Any timetables at this point, or what are your big goals initially?
Initially, the biggest goals of we've started the cross-training sequence to make sure that everybody is on a level playing field. Everybody has a common understanding of operating procedures on both sides. In the grand scheme of things, we're looking 6 to 9 months to make a physical transition into the realm of being able to call it one common entity.
Similarities and differences as far as the two are concerned?
There's a lot of similarities. The differences is each agency has different policies and procedures that we're going to still have to adhere to. But in the grand scheme of things, there's not a lot of differences. It's easy from a training standpoint for the dispatchers to come to a common understanding.
Ken, talk to us a little bit about the CCP Operations Board and how it oversees this process.
Initially, the board was very unwieldy. I think with 8 different people on it, we got it turned down to where it's the police chief of Fort Wayne, the fire chief of Fort Wayne, the sheriff, and his chief deputy. And we basically oversee, we are Tim's boss. And we as a group, he comes to us and we're the ones that oversee it. If we have an issue that we can't resolve, it goes up to the MACP board. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think we'll be able to work out our differences.
Obviously the hiring of Tim, but you also oversee purchases of equipment, things of that nature as well.
That's correct. We are the entity then that can be sued, can make the purchases, can make the leases. Basically, we take over from the city and the county everything. And the CCP is an entity in and of itself. It is not city nor county. And it's a very big undertaking for Tim. It's going to be a very difficult task. That's why the time frame, I think some people thought he was going to come in and be able to have this done in a month. And he agrees, we'll do it right. Don't do it fast. And that's what we're looking for.
I know this has been talked about for a long time, and one of your chief concerns has been making sure that this merger benefits all the citizens of Allen County.
Right. That's been my biggest concern from the start. They started talking combining communications to save money. I said that's the wrong goal. The wrong goal is to save lives. And Tim is of that same opinion, that we need to do this to make sure that we remember that 911 caller that's waiting for the first responder to get there, the officer, the firefighter that needs help, to make sure that we have a system set up that gets them the help fastest. That's the goal. It's not saving money. It's getting lives saved.
Been pretty happy with how Tim's gotten things going so far?
Yeah, Tim has had a very difficult job in the first 3 weeks, and it's going to be difficult. And he has done a very good job doing it. I think we have a perfect fit for the job.
Well, Tim and Ken, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate you explaining what changes will be in store. Hopefully, the public won't necessarily notice big changes. If there are any, it's in improved service for residents of Allen County and Fort Wayne. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
In an emergency or disaster situation, businesses and individuals are going to rely on government to provide much-needed services. But what happens if government is caught in the middle of that emergency or disaster? What if government is having to shift locations, move to a different facility, and still be expected to get out all of the services that are needed during a disaster situation? Allen County has been hard at work putting together what's known as a continuity of government plan. And Bernie Beyer, who's the director of Fort Wayne Allen County's Homeland Security Department, has been at the forefront of helping to put this together, to compile it, to get it organized. And Bernie, we appreciate you joining us today to talk a little bit about the importance of this plan, not only for government, but also for our constituents.
Well, thanks, Mike. Pleasure to be here.
And this is the plan, and as you can see, it is quite comprehensive. How long have you folks been working on this?
Well, the county offices have been working on this probably for the better part of 18 months. This effort was really spearheaded by Katie Shearer from our office and Tracy Ripplinger from the IT office there in Allen County. And I think this is a great testament to the hard work both of them led, with a lot of support from other county departments and agencies. But I think it's through their leadership that this was really accomplished the way it was and within the time frame that it was.
Yeah, Homeland Security was involved, the lead organization, I guess you could say, in putting this together, but your department worked quite closely with all of the departments of county government in getting this compiled. What was the reason for that?
Well, maybe to give away an office secret, I believe the secret behind Homeland Security isn't that we do everything, it's that we lead the effort to make sure that those that do things do it together. And that's absolutely the case in this. This document, this plan is a success because the different departments and agencies came together to not only put their piece together, but to work with others to make sure that we had a comprehensive plan. If it was just our office and a couple planners put it together, it'd look pretty and we'd have tabs, but it wouldn't be very functional. And I think what makes this one unique in counties throughout the state, and maybe even the nation for that matter, is that the level of detail that was provided by the individual departments is what gives me the confidence that says this plan will work when we need it to work.
Now, while each department was able to give you specific needs that they would have, obviously there are some needs that go across the spectrum of county government. What kind of goals are set out in this plan for county government?
Well, some of the main goals are to identify the four things. What is it that we do every day, and what is it that we do in an emergency that we can't afford not to do? Maybe we can wait till tomorrow to do, or we can just put that aside and pick it up later when we restore services, and we're going to shift assets to something more important. So one of the first things we do, and the most important, is to identify what is it we do, and then rank those in a priority order. How important is it, so that we can prioritize the effort. We know that when there's an interruption in services, whether it's from a disaster, a storm, a technological problem, that we're not going to be able to do everything, and we're going to have to be able to prioritize that Each department and agency has got its own priorities, but then collectively, all those kind of rise together, and we'll find trends, we'll find those spikes, we'll find those important things where we can take what limited assets we might have and apply them to those important areas first.
One of the goals I know that you have in here is to be able to have government operations, emergency ones, up and running within 12 hours of an emergency. And we're talking about a situation where government may have to move out of the city-county building, let's say because the disaster has affected the operating capabilities of the city-county building. We're talking about maybe having to move all of government out of there to a different location, have it up and running within 12 hours, and then also having it function from that location for what could be an unknown period of time.
Absolutely, and in order to do that, it helps to first identify those functions. What is it that has to be done? Not so much how you do it, and that's where the flexibility comes in this plan. By engaging those individual departments and agencies, they're probably the ones best suited to make to call some audibles in an emergency. They know what has to be done. They may not need a desk, a cubicle, an inbox, a neat sign outside the door to get that done. It might not be optimal, but they'll find ways to get what they need to do, even if they get sent somewhere else, or we turn the power off on them, or we shut off their email or phone. With whatever they get, they'll find a way to get it done. And this plan helps to think about that now and to plan for some of those eventualities.
We can't mention some of the specifics of the plan because those are secrets, things that we really can't get out to the public because security concerns, if that information were to get out. But obviously you're looking for places that have access to telecommunications and to vital records, for government to be able to reach out quickly, grab what they need to help the public out.
Absolutely, and the plan was broken up into several parts. I think the bulk of the plan either is now or will shortly be on the county's website because
it is there.
Because I believe firmly that the public needs to have the confidence in us that we're doing what we can do at local government, and the best way to assure that confidence is to have a very open government in everything that we do, to include our emergency plans. So there's a big effort this year to get all those plans that we can out there for the public to see, to comment on, to have that confidence that we know what we're doing and that we've got plans for those eventualities. And in those small circumstances where there is something a little bit confidential, individual cell phone numbers, where are we going to put those records? Where might we connect services or store the paychecks at, or how are we going to pay bills? It's not as important to make those details publicly available, but to let the general public know that we're thinking about those things and that we do have a plan.
Now, you are working on plans to try out this very comprehensive plan through exercises, things of that nature, testing?
We are. There's a couple areas. This spring we'll have two opportunities. One, nationwide for that matter, there's a national level exercise in May that's going to simulate an earthquake centered southwest of Indiana, affecting 5 states where we'll have no power for 3 weeks, simulated.
Right.
No power for 3 weeks, no fuel, a lot of those issues. So we'll have that opportunity later in May. And with the move to Berry Street, we hope to take a small department and maybe work out one of their plans as we move to transition. We're shut off, we're back on, and to use that as a real world opportunity as we move and transition to make sure that we don't drop the ball and drop government services as we make that move.
We are probably one of the few counties in Indiana to have a plan, and maybe the only county to have one this comprehensive. Is that a fair statement?
I'm kind of biased because I'm here in Allen County, but from those folks that I've spoke with and what I've seen, I think that's pretty accurate. I'm sure that there are other counties with continuity of government plans and state and federal agencies as well, but I've not seen it done to this level of detail where we really reach out to those stakeholders, to the actual people that work in those offices, and ask them to take some time out of their day, in addition to everything else they're doing, and spend some time thinking and talking with us about how they do what they do so we can identify those. So I'd probably put that up against anybody here in the state, and maybe even let it serve as an example or a template for other counties if they'd like to emulate what we're doing here in Allen County.
It's a great plan that we hope we never have to use.
Well,
but if we do, we're ready.
I think that's the whole idea in all of our planning is plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Okay. Bernie, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you explaining to folks watching just how Allen County is planning to try to keep government up and running during an emergency. For the past several weeks, the Fort Wayne-Allen County Department of Health has been encouraging residents to learn more about radon, how to test for it, and what to do about it if it's found in your home. With us today is Dave Feast. He's the director of the Health Department's Vector Control and Environmental Services Division, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about radon and about some test kits that you can get from the Health Department that can help you in terms of spotting whether you have a problem in your home with radon. Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
First of all, explain a little bit about what radon is.
Radon is a gas that is emitted from the ground. People have naturally occurring uranium in the soil under their homes. And what happens is if you have a crack in your foundation, in your basement walls, or even from sump pumps, that radon gas comes up from the ground into the home through those cracks and openings and builds up in the home. And this radon gas is, unfortunately, it's radioactive. It's not radioactive as, like, say, a nuclear reactor, but there's a risk of being, if you're exposed to this radon gas for a long period of time, there's a risk that you could develop lung cancer.
And obviously, if the gas is being confined within the walls and the ceiling of your home as opposed to just being out in the atmosphere, that just makes things worse.
That's correct. During the cold months when the windows are sealed up, you're running the heat, or even in the summer if everything's sealed up and running the air conditioner, that gas is allowed to build up in the house. And because we spend majority of our day in our homes, you're being exposed to that gas.
And this is the second leading cause of death, cancer-related death in the country. Is that right?
Yes. Second leading cause, second to smoking, and then in non-smokers, it's the leading cause of lung cancer.
Now, the U.S. EPA is suggesting that Allen County, one of several in Indiana that seem to have a high risk for this radon. Is that because of the increased amount of uranium here?
It's possible it is because there is more uranium in our soil. Again, not large amounts where some mining company might want to come in and mine your backyard for uranium, but there is enough uranium in that soil that's breaking down through that radioactive process, releases that gas up into our homes.
So the best way to determine if you've got a high level of radon in your house is to do the testing. The health department for the past several weeks has been giving out free radon test kits, and you'll probably still have several of those available during the month of February as well. Kind of explain to us how these kits work.
Okay. Well, we were provided these short-term tests from the American Lung Association, who had received a grant from the Indiana State Department of Health, who had received the money from the EPA to educate people about radon and also provide these radon test kits. What we're handing out here at the Health Department, and again, these test kits should be available for most of the year while supplies last, but if we don't have them in stock, they can be purchased at the hardware store for $20, $30. But what this test consists of is basically an envelope, and the instructions are in the packet here, and you have this foam piece you stick in there, and then in the most lower level part of your house, so let's say you have a basement that's finished and you use the basement, you're going to hang this up in the centermost part of your basement at about face level, and then it's basically a passive system. You let it hang there for 3 to 7 days, and it basically just kind of draws in the air, and then once that time period is up, you pull the plug out, you seal it up, you mail it in, it's free postage, and then you'll get results back from the company that provides these kits 1 to 2 weeks later.
Okay, so we send off our test kit, we get the results back, the levels are abnormally high. Time to panic yet, or what's the next step that you take?
Okay. The action level that's set by the EPA is 4 picocuries per liter. And what that means is that if your reading comes back at a 4, there is kind of a cause of concern. What we recommend, because these test kits, it's a short-term test, it's only providing a small snapshot of time where it was exposed to that air in your house. What we do is we recommend is to obtain another one of these test kits from us, run it again, maybe a week, 2 weeks, a month later, average out your results. If it's still about a 4 or above, what we recommend then is contacting a state health department certified radon tester to come in and do a test, which is going to be a little bit longer, a little more accurate. And then if that result's still at a 4 or above, then look at possibly putting in a radon mitigation system.
Now, what does that kind of consist of? Can you give us a broad idea?
A common radon mitigation system is where they will, let's say, again, you have a basement. They will either in the sump pump or they'll drill into the concrete under the basement floor, and they will put a pipe down in there and hook that pipe up, a 4-inch PVC pipe, hook that up to a fan, and then run that pipe up through the house or to the outside of the house and up along the side, up to basically above the roof line. And then that fan sucks out that radon gas from under the house and up into the atmosphere, so it doesn't allow that gas to enter your home. What that mitigator will probably also do is look around your basement and see if there's any cracks or breaks in the walls or floors and seal those up, again, to prevent that radon gas from entering the home.
And you have the test kits available here at the Vector Control Office, which is off Lima Road, off Carroll Road, actually, back behind the north barn of the Highway Department. And you also have them at the Health Department office downtown. That's
correct. 5th floor of the City County Building, the Health Department. Also here at our office, 2242 Carroll Road. They can be picked up between 8 and 4:30. Right now, like I said, we do have them in good supply, but at the time, people may want to call 449-7561 before making that trip to the office to make sure that the kits are available.
And to stress once again, the danger of this is a buildup over a long period of time. But still, to go ahead and get the testing done to make sure you're safe is the prudent thing to do.
Yes, the only way you're going to know if you have radon in your home, because it is odorless, colorless, and tasteless, is to run one of these tests. And again, this test is like a starting point. You just progress if you do get the high results.
And if you need more information about radon, about the test kits, if you have other questions about it, you can go to the website, Allen County Health Department website, which is allencountyhealth.com, and there's lots of information there for you. Dave, we appreciate your time. Thanks very much for discussing this important matter with us, and we hope folks will take the opportunity to get one of these free kits and make sure your home is safe. With the goal of bolstering Allen County's current economic development capabilities, the Allen County Board of Commissioners last month created a community endowment program. Joining us today to talk about the program, how it came into being, and what the purpose of it is Allen County Commissioner and President of the Board of Commissioners, Nelson Peters. Commissioner Peters, thanks for being with us today.
Mike, thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about the idea behind starting this program. What was the genesis of this?
Well, there's really a number of issues, not the least, of course, which is economic development. We've been hit up with a number of requests over the years for some of our seeded funding. That's the County Economic Development Income Tax Fund. That's been in place for quite some time. And these requests come in sometimes willy-nilly. And we've not really had any quantifiable measures with which to grade the requests that come in. We've been asked to build parking lots for schools. We've been asked about sidewalk improvements. We've been asked about contributing things to Friends of the Rivers and many other projects. And this simply gives us a way to sit down and as I mentioned, in a quantifiable way, analyze the requests that are coming in and award some monetary benefit accordingly.
What's the goal or the idea behind the program?
Well, I think the goal really is to try and produce jobs to enhance economic development. Some people may look at the awards that we're apt to make in sort of a non-traditional way. You think as economic development many times, you're buying shovel-ready sites, you're providing incentives to businesses, you're building brick and mortar with which to attract jobs. But there are many, many other ways that I think we can do that through enhancing educational opportunities for citizens, for our youth, and in providing some of the awards in other ways that might not otherwise come under a typical economic development award.
Now you have guidelines set up to allow the commissioners to take a look at these and figure which ones fit in the scheme of the program.
Right.
How'd you come up with the guidelines?
Well, the guidelines pretty much look at where the residents are. We want to make sure that we can reward those residents who are actually paying the economic development income taxes. So we want to make sure that they get some of their dollars back. We want to make sure that we are looking at potential job creation. And we want to make sure that the requests that come to us have a quality of life component. Economic development has gotten a lot bigger and is defined in a lot more different ways than it used to be. And I really believe that part of economic development is community development. And so we're looking at community development type requests as well as those that people would typically look at as building jobs.
You talked a little bit about the seeded funds that will be used in this program. How have you used the seeded funds in the past, and how does that kind of correlate with what you want to do through this program?
Well, seeded funds have been used in many ways. We've purchased shovel-ready sites through them. We currently fund the Fort Wayne-Allen County Economic Development Alliance through seeded funds. We fund the Northeast Regional Partnership, the marketing arm, through seeded funds, and a number of other administrative type entities. We have done some other things in the past with those types of funds. We have contributed to sidewalks. We have contributed to some other educational components. This will just provide for us the opportunity to measure those funds.
How does this compare with, say, the way the city of Fort Wayne perhaps uses this kind of money? Are there similarities?
With the types of things that we're looking at, there are many similarities. If you look back to past administrations, those administrations would reward, would provide about $400,000 a year to each councilmanic district. Those individuals would apply those funds towards trees, towards sidewalks, towards other projects that some of the neighborhood associations may have felt as very valuable. I think the rules that we've created for what we're looking at are probably going to be a little bit more stringent, because although I've mentioned that the definition of economic development has expanded greatly over the years, we want to make sure that we are still looking at jobs for the most part in our award of any dollars.
So this is really money that isn't necessarily going directly to the creation of jobs or to bring a business or industry in, but would eventually do that. There are a couple of points along the way. It doesn't go from point A to point B, in other words.
Yeah. I think sometimes when you look at economic development, you've looked at the two-point scenario that you've talked about. Here's the money, there's the jobs. And I think in what we're looking at, you may look at something that says, here's the money, there's the education, here's an offshoot of the education, and there's the job. So it may be a several-step approach to get to that job portion, but we get there.
And we hear a lot these days about returning tax dollars to a community or to a city, county, so they can be used in that area again. That's really what you're doing with this money as well.
The seeded dollars right now don't go to where the dollars were earned. They go to where the people who earned the dollars live. And so what we want to make sure, since we are reaping this benefit through the individuals that live in the unincorporated areas of Allen County for the most part, we want to make sure that one of the components of this program rewards those who are living in the unincorporated portions of Allen County.
Now, you have a maximum limit as far as the amount of money in a year that you can provide through this program, correct?
Right. We are looking at about $100,000 a year, which represents only 1.6% of the county's seated budget and a far lesser proportion of the overall budget. Within that aggregate, we are looking at a maximum of $25,000 per grant. So if we awarded 4 grants at $25,000, we'd be done.
And you also have to have a match from the group or the agency that's applying for the
Yes,
program.
we are requiring a 20% match from any organization that we make an award to.
What kind of safeguards would you say are built in to this program that prevents, I guess you could say, future commissioners from getting out of hand with passing out money to most anything?
Well, some of the safeguards are the amount of money that we've got in total, the amount of award that will be made to any particular agency, and the fact that we're looking at job-related, unincorporated, quality of life type awards.
And important to point out, unincorporated portions of Allen County, areas that don't normally have the opportunity to apply for such monies or to get these kind of grants.
Right. A lot of our seeded money oftentimes in the past has gone to road building in the unincorporated areas. That's a way that we have felt that we can try and enhance economic development in the unincorporated areas. This takes that a step further. And it allows for that award on job-based criteria in those areas.
Now, what's the process that will take place as people seek to apply for this money?
This year, folks are going to have to get applications in pretty quick, and I think it's by April, as I recall, so that we can look at those individuals who are requesting money, those organizations who want to do something on a job creation way with it. We will, by April or May, judge how close those respective agencies come to meeting the criteria that's been established, and then we'll make the award. For the years subsequent to 2011, we want to make sure that we've got everything pretty much done by the time the budget season rolls around. So we are requesting that those applications be in by June or July of this year to the Allen County Commissioner's Office.
And this will all be done in a very transparent fashion.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that we know what people are asking for, that other people know what other people are asking for, so that we can make those awards very transparently.
Commissioner Nelson Peters, thanks for being with us today and explaining to folks the Community Endowment Program that the Commissioner's Office has started.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you having me.
And if you want more information about the program, you can go to the county website, www.allencounty.us, to read the guidelines and fill out an application form. And that will do it for this month's edition of County Line. We thank you for joining us. Remember, you can watch all of our segments online on our YouTube channel, or you can watch the entire program on our video on demand service. And you can reach those two services by going to our website, www.allencounty.us. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and we'll see you next time on County Line.